Introducing the all new Oraimo Airbuds 4, and as you can see, the star of the show here is actually the LED lights on the case. So this is actually first and new in the Oraimo Airbuds lineup for a case to actually have LED lights indicating the batteries. So not only does it indicate the battery of the case itself, it also indicates the battery of each individual bud as well. So I think Oraimo always has this sort of goal they are looking for with their product, and that is always being distinctive and standing out. And I actually think this product does that perfectly. So as you can see, we also have a transparent case cover here, and I think it's actually following the trend of transparent tech products, and it actually looks nice. So this very distinctive. I think they really achieved their goal with that. It's actually black and it only comes in this color as well. So let's move on to the sound experience or listening experience of the Airbuds 4. Okay, so first off, it actually comes with two extra ear tips, and as you can see, the smallest amongst them does it very well for me, and it doesn't actually come off. It stays in my ear for longer periods when I'm doing anything whatsoever. So I actually read some of the comments down on Oraimo's official website, and I had people saying they jog with it, they go on the treadmill with it, and they have no issues whatsoever. I'm not athletic. I don't usually move around that much, but for most of the things I do, it actually stays in my ear for a longer period of time. And that's good. So now let's talk about the sound. I think that's the most important part. So the raw sound that comes out of the earbud, I'll give it a rating of 6.5 out of 10. But when you actually pair that with the Oraimo sound app, you can go up to 7 out of 10. And with the help of the equalizer, you can actually tune the sound to your own liking or customize it to your liking. So this airbud is actually going for $15 to about $16 depending on where you are coming from. And I think this is quite cheap and it goes very well with the sound as well. Okay, so for controls, we actually have touch controls on the Airbuds 4 here. The Airbuds 3 also have the same touch controls, but I'm glad we do not have a single tap feature on the Airbuds 4. So a single tap feature here would actually make the Airbuds more sensitive, and you might accidentally tap it to activate a function, and that is not really good, and that might actually interfere with your experience. So we don't actually have a single tap feature here. So you actually double tap on either of the Airbuds to pause or play a track or a music. You triple tap on the right airbud to skip to your next track or your next music. And for game mode, we actually have game mode on the Airbuds 4. And for game mode, you actually long press the left airbud to activate game mode. I think that's quite cool and subtle. Okay, so now let's talk about battery. So when it comes to batteries, the Airbuds 4 is actually a battery champ. So when it comes to battery, I'm just giving the straight up rating of 10 out of 10. So when it comes to the case, we actually have a 400 milliampere battery in the case of the Airbuds 4, and we have 40 milliamperes each on each bud of the Airbuds, and I think it's solid. It has a very solid battery life in my opinion. So Oraimo also says with a 10 minutes charge of the Airbuds 4, you actually get 90 minutes of playtime, which is actually 10 minutes more than the Airbuds 3. And I think that's a nice upgrade. Now let's talk about extras. So we actually have Bluetooth 5.3 here. We have ENC, which is environmental noise cancellation. And now let's talk about the microphone quality. Okay, so whenever I made phone calls, the voice that was heard from the other side was a clear voice. There were no breaks in the voice, but then it was as if I was actually far from the microphone. So that's actually the feedback I had from people when I was making phone calls with the Airbuds 4, and that actually made my phone call quality drop. So my rating now for it is actually about, I'd say it's an average when it comes to making phone calls with the Airbuds. You get clear voice, but it's something. It's as if you are far from the microphone and the person doesn't actually hear you very well. We also have IPX4 rating here, a little bit of splashes here and there, especially when it comes to sweat. So it means you are good to go with the Airbuds 4 when you are exercising or when you're in the gym. So coming from the Airbuds 3, there's a downgrade here when it comes to the IPX rating. So the Airbuds 3 actually has IP67 rating, which is actually better, and that actually goes for dust and water resistance. The Airbuds 4 only has protection against water and it's actually rated at a 4, which is not that good. But the Airbuds 4 actually has support for the Oraimo Sound app, and this is where the value actually comes in. So we have support for the Oraimo Sound app, we have better batteries, we have improved battery life, and it's actually cheaper than the Oraimo Airbuds 3. And I also think the deciding factor for me or you to even pick the Oraimo Airbuds 4 is actually the battery indication LED light here. So I think this is very, very informative and very, very distinctive. It's very, very useful as well. This tells you your battery level right on the go, just so you know when to charge and when not to charge. And I think this is a very, very nice feature that we don't even have on the Airbuds 3. So I think this is a great value for money. It's cheaper than the Airbuds 3. You only need protection against water or sweat. You don't need protection against dust. You are not sending it anywhere near dust. So I think the rating here is also good. Battery is improved here. The design is solid. And I'd say go for the Airbuds 4 if you need an Airbud from Oraimo at a very cheap price. So here's my review about the Oraimo Airbuds 4. If you are new here, consider subscribing, leave a like, and leave a comment behind.